Hey YouTube, I'm Nick from Nick282K, and this is my scrap box single phase induction motor. This motor only took about 20 minutes to make. It has two coils, half a beer can, a small capacitor, and an AC power supply. The important part to making this work is that small capacitor. It makes a difference in phase between the current going through the two coils, causing a torque. In the pole of the motor that just has a coil, the current lags behind the voltage because of the inductance in the coil. So as the voltage is on its way up to peak, the current will start, but it'll start behind the voltage. It'll lag behind. It'll reach the peak after the voltage has peaked, head back down, peak again, and lag behind the voltage. In the coil that has the capacitor connected in series, the capacitor actually causes the current to get closer in phase to the voltage. So it'll only be lagging behind by a little bit. Drop down and only lag behind by a little bit. This change in phase between the two coils is what lets you cause torque onto the aluminum can in the center. This coil here is the coil connected with the capacitor in series. So its current and magnetic flux peak before the current and magnetic flux coming out of the coil on its own. As the magnetic flux builds up, it induces a current into the aluminum of the can, and that current causes a magnetic field. As the magnetic field starts to drop off in this coil, it starts to peak in this coil because it's lagging behind. That causes the magnetic field in the can to start to line up with this pole of the motor. By that time, the magnetic field has started to reverse and the current has started to reverse in this coil, and the whole process happens over and over 60 times a second. There are a number of ways this motor can be made more efficient, such as adding more poles or having a magnetic core that surrounds the whole motor, giving the magnetic field a path to return into the coil without having to pass through the air. The only suggestion I could make to anyone who wants to try this at home is not to use one of these small electrolytic capacitors that you'll find in most consumer electronics. They're not made for this kind of use. They heat up very quickly, and more likely than not they will burst, releasing some pretty ugly chemicals. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please subscribe and like, and don't be afraid to try it yourself. Thanks.